you do anything for Black Friday?
Absolutely not. Well, I went to work today.
Yeah, that's fun. I don't understand people who have to work the day after Thanksgiving. Like, even me working in healthcare, like, and getting no days off, I still get Thursday, Friday off for Thanksgiving every year.
So it's kind of a big day if you're working in the financial industry.
Why?
I mean, not specifically for me, because I work accounting and safe deposit boxes. But, you know, everybody else wants their money or has credit card issues or an issue with their debit card, and it's Black Friday.
Oh, yeah. So, like, you get a bunch of calls at the merchant and all that sort of stuff. And
like things like that, or fraud.
Fraud, I'm sure. People maxing out their limits, this or that. People asking for what limit increases, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't work in credit cards or anything. I imagine that is the case, but I think that's why the bank is not closed.
That would make sense. That would make sense. So, yeah, even the branches are open?
Oh, the branches are all open.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, it was a relatively slow day today. Let's see here. We got like a handful of calls. I mean, it came in kind of slow. We're behind anyway, but like new work came in fairly slow.
I don't even have the day after Christmas off. I have to ask for it off. So it's just funny that I guess the hospital I work at must just honor Black Friday, which is weird because it's the middle of nowhere. And if they wanted to do Black Friday shopping, they'd have to drive all the way to Bangor.
Or go to
like
Canada.
2.5 hours. Or go to Canada, yeah. But I don't know if anybody shops in Canada. Maybe they do. Anyway, how was your Thanksgiving?
I don't know. It was pretty good. So I went over to my sister's house Wednesday and stayed the night and helped her like prep cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Did my laundry.
Help her fist a turkey.
I helped her fist a turkey.
Yep.
So my sister Nicole, she was on a previous episode that you can now view on Patreon.
Ooh. Which, by the way, we have a Patreon.
We have a Patreon.
And it would mean the world to us if you would become a patron. Is that how they call it?
A patron of Patreon.
Yeah, so we will be releasing regular episodes for our patrons that can only be heard on Patreon. And if you can't do that, totally understand. But, you know, write us a review on Apple Podcasts and rate us 5 stars. And subscribe to us on YouTube and like our videos. Oh, my God.
And give us a review or just a comment on YouTube. We never get comments.
Yeah, or just... if you just want to email us, you can email us. Was it miserymachinepodcast@gmail.com?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can just message us on Instagram. Yeah, do that. Do those things. But yeah, Nicole was...
fisting a turkey.
Fisting a turkey, yeah.
So...
talk dirty to it.
Yeah, so when we were putting the turkey together, she literally was like talking about fisting it.
Mm-hmm.
It was getting quite dirty with it.
Uh-huh.
And then stuffed the turkey.
Did it help? Did it loosen it up? I heard if you dirty talk someone, gets them looser, you know?
So that's
gets
the
them
funny...
in the mood, you know?
The funny part about it is her boyfriend's mother was like, Nikki, how did you stuff it so deep? And she literally said to everyone in front of the family that she dirty talked it and then started making fisting hand motions.
Oh my God. That's pretty wonderful.
It was beautiful.
I was told... my baby sister, who is an RN, told me how she was, let's see, how much of this can I tell? I can tell the joke. Okay, so a doctor told this joke to her in front of a patient, and he said, what's the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? And she said, what? And he's like, I've never had a garbanzo bean on my face.
Oh,
and
my.
She told us that at the dinner table.
Is this a pee joke?
I don't know. Is this a big boy joke?
It's a big boy joke.
Do I need to go ask my dad what this means?
You do. I know people like that. It's pretty interesting.
People like what? That ask their dad things or that get peed on?
They get peed on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That they're open about this? I think most people aren't open about that stuff.
Yeah, they're not very open about it, but I know about it.
Oh, you know about it?
Yeah.
You're adjacent to the community.
I don't even know that there's a community.
I'm water sports adjacent. I prefer to sit next to the pool and watch people participate, but me myself, nah, I don't really partake yet.
Yet.
I mean, I can make jokes about this, okay? Some of my best friends do piss on each other. So if anyone is allowed to make that joke, it's me, okay, guys?
Yeah. So I have to apologize if I'm all coffee because I'm still sick. I'm sorry.
Yorkie has lung cancer.
No, I don't.
Dying.
No, I just have a cold. So if
We're
it gets too bad, we can pause it and cut it out. But
We're going to be the first podcast that has a dead person as a co-host.
yeah.
I'm just going to like drag your bloated corpse to the closet and just prop up a mic in front of you and just be like, how's your day? You're going, oh, it's fine, Ruby, thank you. And I'll just be like moving your like jaw up and down manually.
Yeah, until it falls off.
It'll, well, you know.
You can put some like string and tie it back.
Yeah, or just something. Like, it'll take more effort on my part, but I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good marketing tactic.
So how was your turkey day?
Besides piss jokes,
Yeah.
it was pretty good. You know, I got to see my family since most of my family works in the medical field. It's hard to see all of them, and I saw all my cousins but one because she was working Thanksgiving Day. And yeah, so that was nice to see people. And yeah, pretty uneventful overall. I just, I ate food I normally don't eat.
How'd that go?
Somebody didn't tell me there was coconut in the pumpkin pie, and I don't know why you'd put coconut in the pumpkin pie because I certainly didn't taste it. But being allergic to a coconut, it made me bloated. But thankfully, just fasting for 18 hours fixed that right up quick. So, hey guys, when you got a stomach ache, just fucking fast.
So I guess I'm never going to be able to drag you to Jeff's if you're still having a coconut issue.
Hefts. Yeah,
Hefts.
probably. I mean, you know, it's a hyperallergenic food, so.
Yeah.
I mean, is that all like coconut milk?
So they seem to put it in everything.
I mean,
I'm going to be real.
Eating out is just masturbation. It really is. I can understand sometimes like, oh, you don't feel like cooking, but you should probably learn to feel like cooking, just like you should learn to feel like brushing your teeth or any other fucking daily habit, because eating out costs a lot.
Yeah. Well,
and yeah, it's enjoyable to do every now and then, but I mean, like, after I've like thought about it and I'm just like realizing how much money I save eating at home and I don't have to worry about getting sick, like literally I'm going out and paying to risk getting sick.
right.
And sometimes I pay really good money. I'll go to like a really good restaurant and I'm paying top dollar just to get sick. Sometimes those fancier restaurants that are more likely to get me sick because nothing's ever basic. It's all a fuckload of ingredients thrown into one.
They don't tell you what's
And
in it.
they don't tell you, and you ask the waiter doesn't know. Waiter goes back and asks the chef. The chef is some like scumbag 20-year-old kid who's probably like, oh yeah, it's fine. You know, they're the ones that you order, and this is why I won't order a salad at a one, I've worked at a restaurant. I won't order a salad at a fucking restaurant. 2 reasons. One, they will throw croutons on it as a default, and then when they tell them, hey, this person's gluten-free, they'll just pull the croutons off, which will cause a celiac to react. Second reason is, more often than not, the greens are not properly refrigerated and cared for and are left out in the open a lot of times, and it's just fucking shit they'd buy at the Hannaford. There's no reason to order a salad at a restaurant and make it yourself at home for 3/4 less of the price. A quarter of the price. There we go. Yeah.
Droopy. You shouldn't tell me these things.
Why?
Because I know what restaurant you worked at, and it is literally like my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, I know. You
So-
know what? You know what's funny about that place? It's under new ownership now, but you know what's funny about that place is when I worked there, like it totally blew away my concept of what I believed restaurants were. I thought it was all this like top quality food and just things that were so hard to come by, but it's literally food you can just get at a grocery store and just prepared a certain way.
Yeah.
And sometimes not even in an impressive way. Sometimes not even in a way that would be better than a home cooked meal, but it has prestige for some reason. It almost seems like what determines a 4 or 5 star restaurant is either chef credentials or the amount of seating in your restaurant or the ambience of the building, just things like that. That place sat a lot of people, and that was probably why. It's also a restaurant that's been around for over 100 years, so it had this like standing in the community, and its reputation kind of carried with it. So people will like book reservations so far in advance at that place. But yeah, I don't know. Just working at a restaurant, it's like, this isn't as fancy or as high class as I thought it would be. I mean, yes, they make some really good food sometimes, but really, if I'm paying like $60 for a plate when it's not even that much better than what I could make at home, and things are so different nowadays. It's not like you have to look through a cookbook and hope it's good. You can go and watch things on YouTube,
Right.
and you'll see right then and there if it's good or if it's not good. And I don't know. I just think it's so much easier to learn how to cook nowadays and how to deal with that stuff and make perfectly good food at home.
Agreed.
So that's my little rant on that.
I know I used to go to said place every year on my birthday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was my favorite thing. However, back talking about Jeff's, my mom's getting me a new Instant Pot
Oh yeah.
for Christmas, so I can make oxtails.
Okay.
And that
Is
doesn't.
is it legit ox's tails?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't have coconut milk in it, so.
I mean, you don't need coconut milk. I don't know why people insist on it. I have an Instant Pot, but I just never found a reason to use it. So yeah, I don't know. This just seemed I can't think of anything that I'm just like, yeah, I'll just use an Instant Pot. It's either just air fryer. What are those slow cookers called?
Crock
Crock pots
pots.
or the oven.
Yeah, the thing with it is, though, so let's just say, for example, oxtails. They take a really long time to cook. So if you're cool with that and you want to let it go all day long, fine. A lot of people cook them with a pressure cooker.
Uh-huh.
So if you kind of want the best of both worlds, Instant Pot is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that sucks about it is, let's just say cook time's going to be 40 minutes, where it could be 8 hours in a crock pot. Cool, it's 40 minutes, but you also have to let the steam go out naturally and release, so then you're adding another 45 minutes onto that.
In a crock pot?
No, I'm talking about in an Instant Pot.
Oh, in an Instant Pot.
So yeah, it's real weird. But
so that almost makes it sound like the Instant Pot is that's a bad quality with the Instant Pot.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying and you have to plan for it.
So why not just use a pressure cooker instead?
I don't know. Well, one thing I know with the Instant Pot, I don't know about this with pressure cookers because I've never used one. You can have all the different settings in the Instant Pot. So let's just say I need to make the oxtail. So you have to saute your herbs with the oil or butter, add the onions, add Scotch bonnet peppers, whatever you need to do to, make it. I don't know the full ingredients for it, but I'm sure those are things. Instead of doing it in a pan, you can do it in the Instant Pot.
Okay.
And then switch the setting, put your meat in, brown that, get the sear, then put other ingredients in, switch the setting, and now you've got the pressure cooker thing going on. So you just do it in all one pot.
Okay. So an Instant Pot is pressure cooker adjacent.
It is pressure cooker adjacent.
or it's pressure cooker combined with other things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, and I'll use one of those deep electric skillets just to fry meat or whatever, or steak or something. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't. You do you. I could never think of anything that would be useful for it for me for what I cook. But anyways, we're talking about food again.
We always do. We're such fatties.
I know. I'm giant.
I know. So
I am really fat. If you've ever seen me, you know that this is true.
Yeah.
I probably have 10 years to live. I have hypertension, and I have type 2 diabetes, and I have stage 2 chronic kidney disease. Yes, I have all these things.
All of these things, Drew.
I am morbidly obese. Anyways,
sorry, I'm dying.
I'm really
sit, please.
Yeah, there you go. Have some water. No, I'm actually really attractive. We got another listener request.
We did.
Yes, we did. Was this from Eddie?
This was from Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah.
This is and I hadn't heard of this before. They call these the 3X murders.
3X murders. So this was a little bit difficult to find information on.
Yeah, there was nothing on YouTube about it.
There was nothing on YouTube.
There's no documentaries. There's nothing like that.
Because if there is, it's probably labeled as something different. I couldn't really find anything pertaining to 3X murders.
Yeah.
There was one episode of Sword and Scale, episode 21. that I could use for some sort of reference material.
And there was an old Angel Fire page that was still up with like detailed information and references about this.
That gave more information personally that I found more useful than the Sword and Scale episode, which actually really sucked.
So I had never listened to a Sword and Scale episode before, and when Yergi recommended that to me, I listened to it. I was like, why does anybody like this? This is awful, and just the dude's not even talking. He's just playing clips from the people that are being interviewed. This is so lazy. Like, why do people want to suck this guy off? Because, like, so many people, like, think this dude is hot and want to fuck him and all this shit.
Really? Do you think people think that Mike Boudet is hot?
I mean, you even told me yourself that they all fucking fangirl out over him.
I don't know if anybody really would think Mike Boudet is hot, because he's not really that hot. But they do,
I'm pretty sure
they like clout chase on him is what they do.
I'm pretty sure girls that stan male podcast hosts are saying they're hot because of their voice and not what they actually look like. But who knows? I'm not one of those women.
You're not one of those women?
I'm not one of those women.
Here, I'm gonna like show you this asshole.
I'm a classy bitch. You're gonna show me what he looks like?
Yeah.
Isn't this dude like super problematic and misogynist?
Yes, he is.
Well, no wonder.
That's Boudet right there.
Oh man, he looks like one. Dude, he looks like kind of like a toddler. If a toddler was in his early 50s, late 40s, whatever he is.
Whatever he is.
Yeah.
I think he's like not that much older than me, but
really?
Yeah, but he's extremely problematic. He got in trouble initially for fat shaming and shaming mentally challenged people and just saying a lot of like cancel worthy things.
And it didn't get him canceled.
It did to a degree. So how do you even explain it? So he was...
I'm sure people already know this, right?
I don't know. People can go look it up if they want to. Mike Boudet's an asshole.
Yeah, I don't want to plug this. I mean, I can be convinced that there are better episodes he's done, but hearing this one episode, I don't know why this got as big as it did. It is frankly appalling. If this is what you have to do to be a successful podcaster, geez, oh man, in a year we're going to be on fire. But anyway...
I'm sorry.
I just sound like fucking John Kasich. Jeez, oh man. Fucking sorry.
So anyway, let's
Jeb
talk
Bush
about
is a mess.
Stop it. Let's talk about the case.
Jeb is a waste. Jeb is a big fat mistake. Wonk, honk, air horn. I have to find that YouTube channel again. Anyways, yes, the case. So these are not called 3X murders because there was 3 of them. It's called 3X murders because that was what was written on a slip of paper, right? That was found.
Yeah, he kept using that as sort of like a code name bullshit.
Yeah, because apparently this dude was a international spy with a fake German accent. So how this all started initially on June 11th, 1930, Joseph Mazinski was shot to death as he sat in his car with a 19-year-old girl named Catherine May in Whitestone, Queens, New York. Now, I'm not sure how New York was at the time. This part of Queens is a nice part of town nowadays. I'm not sure if it was then. Like to think it was, but who knows? So not if this is what I think, this was not a bad neighborhood to be just randomly getting shot in.
Yeah, so they were hanging out at some sort of lover's lane. Mr. Mazinski here was with his 19-year-old mistress.
So I need to understand this because they were talking about lover's lanes, and from what I understand, what the fuck is a lover's lane? Like, I don't...
It's a place you can go parking.
Well, right, but if you're there getting it on with whoever you're in there with, you can get a sex offender charge easily, and people have.
I don't think this was the case in the 30s, so...
God, maybe not. I mean, nowadays...
This is what it was. Like, everybody would go, like the scenes from Greece where everyone's over at that cliff overlooking it and everyone's fucking in their cars.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess it just changed as people got older.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, man. Have you ever sat in, like, a parking lot or by Lake Auburn or just anywhere, like, somewhat late at night and have a cop just knock on your window just to see what you're doing?
There's a reason they did that over at Lake Auburn. Because that's where the gentlemen go to meet.
Well, it used to be in a park and ride further up Route 4, and it still exists, but it's chained off, and I don't know who owns it, but the city won't let them reopen it.
Yeah, it's called Pickle Park.
Yeah.
Which is the funny part.
Oh, so that's so at Levitt they called it Pickle Park and said there was pickle parties going on there, and I thought that was a Levitt only thing, but it's funny to hear that you heard that too. I play poker with a guy that this was in late 90s. He's in the high school, early 90s. He was in high school, and he's just like, I bet it's all bullshit. Hey guys, let's go there. And then him and his friends pulled into the place and just parked. And within 15 minutes, some guy's knocking on the windows like, hey, you guys want to get your dick sucked? And they just got the fuck out of there. But yeah, I remember when I was in high school, but I don't remember how old I was, but I was out driving with some friends, and that place was loaded with cars on a Friday night.
Yeah, it was a cruise spot.
Yeah.
But now it's, since it's closed off, everyone does that same little, like, strip in front of Lake Auburn.
But that's so visible there.
Well, they like leave or just like, do some blowies there. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, I've seen people fuck there. Like I've pulled in and I've seen like an ass rapidly going up and down in the
I mean, if you're going to fuck next to Lake Auburn, there is like a much better, prettier spot going down Lakeshore Drive, like on the way to Apple Orchards. Has picnic tables, very nice.
I don't even know the say because I'm a classy person. I don't believe in just taking somebody to random places just to fuck.
Well, no, I haven't done anything like that there either. I've gone to picnics there because it is a picnic spot. But I'm saying if you're gonna, be naughty and stuff, unless you're an exhibitionist, which is fine.
You're surveying it. You're like, this would be a decent place to fuck.
This would be the better place to fuck, not the one on Route 4.
I mean, can't you just like go out into a golf course where like no one can fucking see you? I mean, geez, like, I'm not saying that I have any like. The only reason I'm speaking negatively about this is because, one, it's so easy to get caught by the cops because they have nothing to do at night, especially in Maine. They're going to come around and they're gonna find you. They need something to do. And two, do you want to be on the registry for 10 to 25 years? Do you know how much that fucks up your career? Do you know how just people just like fucking think you diddle kids just because you had sex with a grown adult in the car? Nah, man, that's not worth it. No nut you ever bust is ever going to be worth that, okay? So,
but it was okay in the 30s.
It was okay in the 30s. Everybody was diddling kids then.
Right.
In fact, everybody in the car, I'm sure there was underage people in the car since it was like people were getting married off at 13 to fucking 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this particular lady was his mistress,
Yes.
Is that correct? I didn't know that part.
Yep.
Well, okay, so he's
having a torrid affair here with a teenager at a lover's lane. So
it doesn't look like you had much details about this. So for what I remember, he just rolled into the car and he kept asking Joseph Mazinski for something. Like, where's the money or where's the papers? That's what he said.
Papers.
Yeah, did you list this in here or is
no,
they out of order?
I just did a very
brief
overview.
Yeah. So he said he kept asking him for papers and stuff like that. And when he wouldn't give it to him, like, he asked him some other questions. And I don't remember what those questions are. But this dude seems to have a what's the word, penchant for shooting people while they're mid-sentence.
Yes.
Because he just randomly shot almost like as if it was a movie, even if they had movies like that back then.
Right.
But he just was very dramatic. So yeah, shot this dude in the face.
Yeah, then raped Miss May.
Yeah, raped her, and then gave her some money and put her on a bus back home or something.
Yeah, I believe it was a trolley, but he also gave her a 3x7-inch slip of paper with strict orders that she was not to read it until the next day. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't even call the cops or anything like that for some time.
Yeah, she doesn't call the cops at all. They end up investigating her after they find out that Joseph Mazinski had a mistress.
Oh, yes.
She thought that if she kept, like, the reason her reasoning that she said was
Yes.
if she came out about it, then she would get labeled a slut and her reputation would be ruined.
Yeah, she didn't want her parents to know that she was involved with a married man.
Right, and so she automatically became suspect number one, and they held her for, I think, they tried to sleep torture her, like
Yes, they did.
which I can't believe is still legal nowadays, but they kept her for days and would not let her sleep until she finally confessed to the murder, just to make it all stop. And she gave a written account of everything, like signed written confession, because
Yep.
this is how things were back then. I'm sure if they would do this to her, they did this to so many fucking people. But yeah, so signed written confession and everything, and then they find out dude kills again, and that's when they let her go.
Yeah, so at the same time, like, they held her on $50,000 bail, which was like a huge amount of money back then.
Yeah, that was like close to, like, I think 750 grand back then or something like that.
They later reduced it to 5,000. So she was their material witness. She gave all sorts of, like, conflicting accounts. So
Yeah,
before
she
she
did.
like went and said that was her that did it, she made up this non-existent Italian gangster named Albert Lombardo.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then she admitted that that was a complete lie.
But I mean, the fact that she's being sleep deprived and she's being tortured, like, this is like, I'm not gonna like tiptoe around this. This is absolutely torture.
Right.
So if you're being tortured, yeah, you're gonna just admit to whatever you want just to make it stop. So yeah. The death received no special treatment until Noel Sowley, who was a young radio mechanic from Brooklyn, was found dead in his coupe in a secluded road near Creedmoor, shot twice in the left temple,
Yep.
and accompanied by a young woman, Miss Betty Ring. And according to the report to the police, a lanky man with a thin face and sunken cheeks leveled a pistol at Sowley, and in a
German accent.
So what I was told is it was a German accent that was not quite authentic, or it was just a weird kind of German accent or something like that. They thought it was like somebody faking or whatever.
Probably.
Yeah. Demanded his driver's license. After glancing over it, the man told Sally, "You're going to get what Joe got."
Yeah.
He fired twice and Sally slumped over the wheel, but that's not exactly what happened. He shot him.
A mid-sentence again.
Yeah, mid-sentence he shot him, and he was asking him for papers and money, and he was looking for somebody whose name I don't remember, and he kept saying and he kept accusing Noel Sally of being this person. He said, "You got the wrong guy," and he's like, "Give me your driver's license." Gave him the driver's license, and he asked him where's the papers, and then asked him for some money, and then he got shot once, and from what I understand, he still was talking to him, trying to tell him no, even though he got shot in the head. So the guy shot him again and killed him.
He got shot in the mouth.
You shot in the mouth,
Yeah.
and then in the temple.
And at that point, he was like, before that, was looking off into the distance, apparently, supposedly at other people, like letting them know that it was the okay signal that there wasn't going to be any fight or anything like that.
What, the killer did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like he did this to like people walking by. Oh, okay, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Miss Ring was unable to tell if he took anything. Gave her a similar slip of paper. So what wasn't mentioned on here is that he was about to rape her, but then when she showed, like, she had a crucifix necklace, and I think she gave some other excuse, he basically decided not to rape her at that point.
Yeah.
And then again put her on the trolley and sent her on her way.
Yep.
The description of Betty Ring, Catherine May, almost completely identical, except the differences were that Catherine May thought he was in his mid-20s, whereas Betty Ring thought he was in his mid to late 30s.
Right.
So that was the only real difference. But other than that, accurate description. There was a newspaper clipping that the police found in Sally's pocket. The clipping told of Mozinski's death, and someone had penciled the phrase, "Here's how," on the margin. So we don't know if he had that ahead of time or if that was planted on him. They didn't have DNA evidence back then. So that just is what it is. The ballistic tests showed that the bullets used were shot from the same gun.
Yeah.
So this sparked a giant manhunt So immediately it was, 19 days
Yeah.
for the killer, and this involved over 2,000 uniformed patrolmen and 425 specialized units. And patrolmen were sent to guard secluded roads and parking spots for young couples in other areas. But this is what's funny about this. They didn't just have police stakeouts. What they would do is they would have a plainclothes officer in a regular car. Next, and in the passenger seat, there would be an undercover police officer, a male police officer, in drag, and they were to sit there and just wait until somebody to come along.
Right. They're supposed to like look at each other, but really be looking like past each other.
Yeah. To see if anyone's coming. Yeah. And this went on for a very long time, and they just, I think there was some like they came out and they arrested somebody who was walking by who they thought was up to no good, but it was nothing. There was something with somebody's dog. I think there was like some street fight. It ended up with like nothing. Yeah. Nothing happened because of this. And I think they were spending like close to $1 million a day, which would be like nowadays in 2019 money, they were spending roughly $1 million a day, if I remember correctly. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. So the deaths of Joseph Mazinski and Noel Sally were also linked to a series of strange warning notes, which were sent to a variety of people, including the New York Police Department, the New York Evening Journal. These notes were frequently mentioned international papers, foretold of Sally's murder, and warned that another body would be found in Queens and that 13 more men and a woman would be murdered. The notes were all signed with a cryptic signature of an inverted V, followed by the notation V3X. So that is generally, like, from what I understand, how the first girl, Miss May, got out of prison. Because it went over to a news reporter who got the notes, and the 3X killer actually admitted that they, were holding her for no reason. So that kind of got her out of jail as well.
The 3X killer admitted that? Like, he sent a letter? Yep. Okay. But weren't they having a tough time figuring out who these letters were coming from? Because they thought there were a ton of copycat letters.
There was a ton of copycats. They thought a lot of it were jokes.
Yeah.
Thinking it's a crazy person, who knows? Like, it did later on cause a whole bunch of copycats.
Yeah.
A lot of murders happened. There was one that happened in New England somewhere, where someone killed a guy and started sending 3X type notes to the paper. Yeah. And they realized pretty quickly
copycat shit was way more common back in the day, it seemed like. And people sending just random joke notes being like, haha, I'm the killer, probably because it's easier to track nowadays. But yeah, so there was traces of the killer 3X in Pennsylvania. A letter written in what they thought was identical handwriting to the earlier notes was delivered to Joseph Mazinski's brother, John, who was living in Philadelphia. The note ordered his brother to surrender certain documents by placing them in a newspaper and leaving it by the back entrance to the men's room at Broad Street Station on Saturday afternoon. If he did not have the papers, then he was to leave word of who had them. The note went on to threaten that if the papers were not surrendered, John Mazinski, as well as 2 others from Philadelphia, would pay for it with their lives like the others. The letter was signed with an inverted V followed by a V3X.
Yeah.
So, yeah, every day police brought in suspect after suspect for Catherine May and Betty Ring to examine, only to be told that it was not the man they're looking for. And although they controlled the area, they found nothing. Mm-hmm. Postal workers were given orders to be on the lookout for suspicious characters, and still nothing happened.
Yeah, so finally on June 21st, the police received a letter from 3X in which he stated that his mission had ended. The letter did not...
the header just said mission ended.
Yeah, this letter did not fill in the gaps concerning the person of 3X, his motives, and his connection to the Mazinski and Sally cases. So one kind of interesting thing, taking it back to when the cops were all, dressing in drag and on this stakeout, the public went crazy with this. So, most people who didn't want any problems, like just, barred their doors, stayed inside, locked the windows. But a lot of, hooligans looking for a good time were all, out in the streets partying, just waiting for something to happen, like hoping to hear gunshots.
That's true. Yeah, there was a bunch of rubberneckers that were like, oh, yeah, somebody's going to get shot. Let's watch this.
Yeah, they were like early true crime fans.
Right, and there was just people like, since there were so many people out, people were getting into fights and just like stuff like that, and it was taken away from police time, or it was exposing like the police plants, and it went to the point where everyone at Lovers Lane were cops. There were no teenagers out there anymore because this is spread like wildfire. So yeah, the letter that the 3X killer sent the police. He was a former officer in the German army. I don't think the Spetsnaz were formed by then, but he had claimed to become a special agent of the Red Diamond of Russia, an international secret society located across the world and composed of all nationalities. Apparently, the inverted and upright V's in the signature on the notes represented the organizations. The subsequent notion 3X was apparently the author's code name. So, I mean, whatever. But Noel Sowley and the Mazinski brothers had apparently once belonged to the Red Diamond, but were discharged for treason after they turned against the League and became involved with a gang of blackmailers and drug smugglers, which doesn't make sense to me because you'd think if you were running an international secret society, you would have your fingers in all of that stuff. But
well, not only that, if he's part of an international secret society, why is he telling everybody about Fight Club here?
Yeah, I know, right? Right. That would get him killed. You know, this dude just seemed like an egomaniac. According to the letter, one of the men stole 3 secret documents, one military, one political, and one commercial. Okay? A commercial secret document, oh my, and was using these documents for the purpose of blackmailing the Red Diamond. After the incident was reported, the Supreme Council in Russia, 12 Red Diamond agents randomly drew from a deck of cards. The author of the letter picked the King of Diamonds and was therefore selected to punish and inflict death if necessary. This reminds me of a sick animation video called the Red Dragon Diamond Club, or the Red Diamond Dragon Club, and you should look it up because that's probably how these meetings go. I think I've showed Yergi.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
That weird gentleman in the Lewiston, Auburn area who...
There's several.
So there was this gentleman who made a Facebook group or page.
Oh, I know. Are you sure you want to talk about this?
I'll talk about this. I'm
All
not
right.
gonna, it's fine. Everybody knows about it.
Okay.
You know, our international listeners need to know about it.
Okay.
So there was a Facebook group called Maine Police and Fire Alerts, and it was made by this seriously mentally ill guy.
Allegedly.
I think he really is.
We have no proof of this or diagnosis, so we must say alleged.
Allegedly, yes. So he would sit at a police scanner and just wait for shit to come up, and then would either put stuff or just fabricate stuff. And it would just like publish this on Facebook. The page got taken down many, many times. There's been many like ideations of like the same thing, but it was always like FEMA rolling in and FEMA's coming, or like children out on Knox Street like fighting with swords, like shots fired on whatever. It was just like some of the most outrageous stuff that doesn't happen here ever. Yeah. It was like World War III was going on, but that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I guess I can see the link. But is that page still functional?
So if that page is not functional, some people...
Would it got taken down by Facebook?
So sort of. Some people in the community made it like a counter page called like Maine Police and Fire Alerts Exposed, which is still up.
Put your mic up. There you go.
Yeah. And basically what it is they try to dispel the misinformation and keep an eye out if he makes other pages again.
Okay.
He did make another page again, but what he's posting is so insane, it can't be taken any bit serious. Like it was before, like...
He had a serious following for a while.
He had a serious following, and a lot of people like knew better and knew it was... Well, not that it's a joke, because I'm sure he really thought it was serious.
Yeah, it's hard to call it satirical because there was some truth laced in there, but some of it was blown out of proportion.
Right, and I think that I couldn't call it satirical because I think he really thought he was being serious. So you had the greater majority of folks on that page following it, which were basically trying to watch a dumpster fire. But then you had the boomers who thought this was real and would share these posts.
Yeah, you had the stay-at-home moms and retirees who get most of their political information and news source from Facebook memes. Yeah, those the two people I'm talking about. They eat it right up.
Oh, yeah. So they were sharing it like it was real information. So there was like the kind of gray area where some people thought some of it was serious and there was a shred of truth. But the page he has going on now, there's no way you can even possibly think that anything is serious. It's really just literally some of it's gibberish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't know. The reason why I have a harder time linking the two, because this person in the 3X murder, one, has legit killed at least 2 people and seems to be living in a world that's not reality. I mean, I don't know how he chose to pick these people.
I guarantee it. If Lewiston police don't do something about this dude, he's going to quickly start killing people. I'm going to call it.
Yep, you're putting this out here right now. You're probably going to be the first one.
Yep. I'm sure other people think so too. But anyway.
Well, maybe, yes. But so I think what that guy did is he took true scenarios and things that were going on that he picked up from a police scanner and then ran with it. This guy, the 3X murders, seemed to completely make this up out of nothing.
Yeah. Like, this is pretty wild, especially this is like post-war stuff going into like the New World War.
This is an overactive 8-year-old boy's like spy war fantasy. It really is. Like, if you just think about, like, that one kid on the playground that you hung out with that would just tell you, like, all these, like, stories that he made up in his head about these people killing each other and these secret agents going after these other secret agents, and he's all wide-eyed and he's talking about it because he hasn't taken his Ritalin, like, just... Yeah, this seems like this person who just magically became an older gentleman with the same mindset.
It seems like a real cool guy.
I mean, I'm sure
I'd
he'd
be his friend.
I'm sure he'd be very interesting to talk to. I just wouldn't want to betray the Red Dragon Diamond Club or whatever the fuck it is.
Red Dragon Diamond Club.
So tell me, where's the diamond? Tony's got it. Fuck.
Oh my God. So the letter affirmed that the last of the documents had been surrendered, thereby ending the agent's 3X's mission. It purported that 3X was returning to Russia and that any further noted would not be authentic. It is settled, the author declared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's just funny that he operates in Russia, but is apparently German. Everybody said he had a German accent, and I think one of his letters said he was from German origin. But they said he was being a German expat and had just entered the U.S. recently. So if he just entered the U.S. recently, I'm not sure why he was using American lingo from the time, because apparently the letters were absolutely rife with sayings that you would hear a fluent American English, especially somebody from New York, use at the time. Like, why would this person like adjust and say all these like...
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't have any examples. I had some, but
like when you're learning English or any language, everything is very literal for a while.
Literal and very proper. There's no figures of speech. There's nothing like that. But this guy spoke as if he was not just fluent in English, but fluent in the cultural speak of English. Yeah, in the regional dialect. Thank you. So yeah. The police appeared to be of the opinion that the letter was a cover, and so they only increased their efforts in spending.
Yeah.
So they continued the search. Every angle imaginable was used. They searched for a man masquerading as a woman to hide his identity. I don't know why they thought that he'd be hiding out as a woman, but they did. They combed the area for a body with the idea he might have committed suicide. They tried to trace the watermark on the slips of paper that were given to the murder victim's companions. Suspects were brought in to be inspected by Miss May and Miss Ring, but they were all dismissed with no connection to the murders. Though some suspects looked so similar to the killer that it was only after some difficulty that the witnesses cleared them. So 3X went uncaptured.
Yeah. And like... what was it? I believe it was a Sword and Scale episode. It said that Miss Ring actually stated that I mean, he looked like some silly, like, fake spy from the time
Yeah,
with, like, a big fedora.
He had like a fake mustache too. That,
yeah,
like,
and he had, like, an NRA lapel pin or something.
did he really?
Yeah, it was, like, weird.
I think of, like, what was the Russian spies in Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Boris Nutasha?
Yeah, that Boris, like, mustache or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't know, man, but yeah, it just seemed like a complete his costume anyway seemed like a complete joke. But yeah, letters claiming to be from the mysterious killer continued to be sent, but all notes received after the June 21st final letter, in which 3X dismissed all further notes to be phony, were signed only with the notation 3X. So the cryptic symbol representing the red diamond of Russia was not used, which I don't believe was made available to the public. So I think
that's the inverted V, right?
Right, and so that was the only way for them to know if it truly was him or not. So various people had their lives threatened by people after the final letter, to be clear. The Queensborough President Harvey what? Oh, well, the president of the Queensborough,
Mr. Harvey,
received a telephone call, supposedly from 3X, concerning government matters. Mrs. Edna Sanchez, the borough president Harvey's confidential secretary who took the call, told the caller to call back, after which she notified police. Her life was also threatened. For over a week, threats continued, but no more deaths were connected to the slayings. There was a letter that described the death of an insurance collector, but it was judged to be fake. The police believe the note was written in an attempt to throw authorities off track of the victim's real murderer. I think it was personally just people just having fun.
Yeah.
I really think this guy just, like, felt he got away with it and stopped or whatever, or believed in his mind that this was all over.
Yeah, and then people were just trolling because they're bored. It's the 30s.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do. Like, literally, one of the most popular toys at the time was you take a bicycle tire, roll it down the street, and just whack it with the sticks. That way it would just keep going. That's what kids used to do for fun, okay? So, I'm pretty sure that this was a grand... I would have done this. I'm sure I would have sent fake notes to the police with my friends and laughed about it. I mean, what else are you going to fucking do?
How are they going to catch you? It's hilarious.
Right, yeah, shit's boring back then. So... let's see, what else we got here? The police continue to search the area. The police commissioner finally voiced his opinion that the killer had told the truth and stated his letters that his mission was over. So the 200 patrolmen that were left guarding Queens roads were withdrawn. The investigation still continued. In late August of 1930, Aaron Blattman, a court fingerprints expert, was arrested for making anonymous calls to the police. So during these calls, Blattman offered to divulge the name of Joseph Mazinski's murderer if the police would post a reward. After viewing both Blattman and a friend of his, Catherine May and Betty Ring both agreed that neither man was the one who had shot their companions. Blattman was held under $50,000 bail, which is an insane amount of money, as a material witness. But he was later released on a writ of habeas corpus. I'm not sure why. Do you know why?
No.
Yeah. After the Blattman incident, the 3X case subsided for 5.5 years. Because, I mean, that's like... I don't think you can be like, if you pay me money, I'll tell you who killed Joseph Mazinski. That's like textbook obstruction.
Yeah.
So I don't...
You can't blackmail the cops.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is that? Jesus, okay. So the police received a note purporting from 3X that described the death of an unknown individual and threatened a Pittsburgh girl between 18 and 25. This was a year later in 1931. But other than that, it went quiet.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure they stopped all investigation by the end of 1930. And so in June of 1936, this was almost 6 years after the murders, 3X was suddenly thrust back in the public eye when police arrested a young man who confessed to
be the puzzling slayer.
When questioned, however, the man gave many conflicting accounts of the killings, which caused the district attorney to regard him as a mental case. And so the Miss Ring said he definitely wasn't the murderer, largely because of his age. Miss Ring remarked, "The man you want was older in 1930 than this man is today." The man was released and committed to the state hospital for the insane in Creedmoor, which insane hospitals were in horrid condition back then.
We should definitely do an episode on insane asylums.
Especially the one that got shut down in Augusta, because even in the 90s, people rape people who are mental patients and get away with it.
Yeah, Amhi. I mean, this place is still there. It's now Riverview Psychiatric.
Yeah.
And that's where they have like criminally insane and, you know, just normal insane. But the old hospital was kind of, I mean, there's still some, you know, buildings up.
Yeah, there are.
But
you know, Silent Hill 1 and that shit. Yeah, they had a room in there with like an old mattress, and they would just drag people in there, and the orderlies would just rape mental patients, and you know,
why wouldn't they?
There was there where why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they?
You know,
It was the 30s. They were bored.
No, I'm not talking about this happened in the 90s.
Really?
Yeah, Amhi was open in the 90s.
Amhi's still open.
No, I mean
it's just renamed.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
before when it got renamed was because of all of that shit happening. I'm almost positive that was in the 90s because I remember hearing something about it when I was a kid.
So, on that same note, I want to do an episode about why Augusta is so fucked up.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to post about this on the Facebook group, which you all should join, and try to get some feedback. But, you know, regular listeners, if you're from the Augusta area or know some stuff, just send us a message.
The Misery Machine Podcast on Facebook. It's a group. You should actually put the group link on our Instagram profile, since people seem to chuck that more, so that way they can go and join it.
I did.
You did? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we should definitely add the Amhi situation into what the fuck's wrong with Augusta.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 3X murders are still unsolved.
Yep.
And yeah, nobody really, like, there was nothing to think of. So I don't know. Why don't you talk about like the theories that you were thinking about this?
Okay, so yeah, because the 3X affair remains unsolved, there's tons of different theories that are out there. So back in 1930, the general public, including the New York State Police Department and the New York Times, seemed to regard 3X as a madman, and the Red Daima of Russia, probably a mythical group that, he said, dispatched him on his mission of death. This is probably the most realistic theory, especially considering the fact that Creedmoor Asylum is located less than a mile from where Sally was shot. Although no inmates were reported missing, but it's by no means the only plausible explanation. So I don't know if you were a little nutty. You know, did you get some outpatient treatment back then, or were you just stuck in the asylum?
I mean, but how would you get the gun? That's what I want to know.
Steal one.
I mean, I guess
I don't think they had all these laws stating.
It's not that easy to steal a gun even back then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure what gun laws were like at the time, but I think there was a point in time where gun laws were more strict, and then they got kind of lax again. But this is beyond my knowledge of American history. I know that New York has probably been more anti-gun than any other state in America, but I really can't tell how that was in the 1930s.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So a minor but potentially important point to consider is Miss Catherine May's role in the 3X affair. Her initial conflicting reports to the police were never satisfactorily resolved, and no ulterior motive that she may have been, involved was established. Due to the lack of information about Miss May, that's a point we can only speculate.
Yeah.
I don't think she had anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think a 19-year-old would have done this because she had
There's no reason for it.
She had no link to Noel Sowley, but I thought there was something said that that Joseph Mazinski and Noel Sowley had some sort of link to each other, besides the fact that Noel Sowley had that scrap of paper about Joseph Mazinski's death in his pocket.
I think you're right. I don't quite recall what it was.
I think there was some theory about this being something mafia related, but I think people are, especially back then, when they couldn't explain a killing away, they just said mafia and just threw their hands up and walked away.
And that would make sense for the area and the time. So by far the most appealing and possibly most accurate theory in this case, and almost, the most fantastic, that 3X was, in actuality, a secret agent sent by an illegal secret society to retrieve stolen documents from defectors. This theory has the
This
flavor
makes
of
no
a classic
sense.
film noir genre and is not as preposterous as it might initially seem.
I don't know. It seems pretty preposterous.
I want it to be, I want these women showing up to the police station, like slinking in, holding like a long cigarette, and you have the.
Why don't people smoke long cigarettes anymore?
So, are you talking like a cigarette on one of those long filters, or are you talking about like Virginia Slims and like Capris?
I don't know what Virginia Slims look like, but I just want to. I just want to smoke whatever Corella Deville's smoking.
So, what she's smoking, it's just a cigarette on a long filter. That stick, you put the cigarette on there because back then a lot of cigarettes like Lucky Strikes don't have a filter on the end, so you don't want to get tobacco in your mouth.
Luckies.
Yeah, that's like really all that's for. But long cigarettes like I'm talking about, like Capris, that's what my Oma smoked.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 120s, so they're super long and they're like skinnier than like a straw. They're very dainty little things.
I don't see the appeal.
I don't know. They're supposedly classier.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't see the. I had to take a drag off of a Lucky Strike when my cousin found a pack of them with the filterless ones, and I was just like, "Wow, this tastes so terrible. This is
They
so
were pretty
bad."
I got them, I think, just to see what they were about when I was like a teenager. When I say teenager, I'm like talking like 18, 19, when I was able to actually purchase them because I didn't start smoking till I was 18. But yeah, and actually, Drewby, guess what?
What?
What is today's date?
Today is November 29th, right?
Is it the 29th today?
I think it's 29th, yeah.
Guess what tomorrow is?
The 30th.
Yeah, that's 5 years since I quit smoking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
I need to do something.
What will you do?
I don't know.
Smoke?
No, I'm not going to
Go
smoke.
to a hookah bar?
I still would probably do that.
I mean,
So we still had that one in Portland until like Portland and everyone changed the smoking indoors laws.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty cool.
I've never been to one, ever. I've like taken a drag off hookah before, but I don't think it was actual tobacco.
It was shisha. It's that wet stuff.
Yeah, but not hash.
No, so I went when the Purple Caterpillar was still open over on Exchange Street, and it was like nice. You got to like go hang out. It was very quiet. Had that whole like, hookah bar feel with like, tapestries hanging from the ceilings and stuff. And I think I got one that was blackberry and something else, blackberry and peach. It was quite nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but yeah, I don't know. I just figured it'd be a good thing to celebrate not smoking by smoking. I mean, we could do crack together.
Let's do some crack.
We could smoke some crack together.
We could go to like Dave's place and get one of those tubes with the roses in it.
What?
You don't know that?
No.
So a lot of like convenience stores downtown will sell those long glass tubes with the rose inside. They're about this big. Because really, no one wants the rose. They throw that shit out. They'll put like their crack rock in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a glass tube, and use that as like a crack pipe.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I did not
That's
know
what that's used for.
Huh.
I found that out like later in life, like I think from my crazy aunt. Yeah.
Well, what do they use the roses for?
They don't. It's I think like a front for the fact that they're selling like an incognito crack pipe at a convenience store.
Well, I was just saying what is the initial like the legit purpose of these things, but you're saying that even the store owner is not trying to sell these with a legit purpose.
No, they're sold on the counter like where the lighters are. So like any like, convenience store downtown, like the last place I saw them were like at Dave's place on the corner of like Sabattis and College.
Man, I haven't been in Dave's place since I was a teenager.
No, I haven't been there since I lived on College Street.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. I know somebody that was basically strong-armed into giving somebody money there in the middle of the night for a 40, but yeah, and I've heard of fights going on there, and it's at a not the nicest part of town, but...
No, that's right, like a couple of buildings down from where Albert Flick went and stabbed that woman.
Oh, yep. I know the guy that owns that.
You do?
That laundromat, yep. I don't know if I want to cut this out or not, but this is also like an anniversary for me too. Is either this week or last week is 3 years without porn for me.
Excellent.
So I'm going to celebrate by watching a bunch of it. I don't know.
Don't cut that out. That's good.
No, it is good because it's just a time waster. And although I never spent any money on it, it amazes me the amount of people that do and how porn is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Because growing up, I never thought that anybody in their right mind would ever spend money on it. They would either get it for free somehow, or that's it. But people do, and for some people, that's all they do. And it's this rabbit hole that never has an end to it. And I think when you finally hit the end, I don't think you're really a person anymore. So yeah, I just have better things to do with my time and to focus on, and I would rather cultivate better relationships than cultivate artificial ones. So yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. You figure out what you want to do to celebrate your not smoking.
My
Whatever.
not smoking.
Yeah.
I will say though, Dave's place had some pretty decent pizza. So I would like stop there because like I lived on College Street, kind of more towards Bates, and I'd go stop on my way into work, and I'd get like a slice of pizza, and I'd pick up a pack of cigarettes. And the pizza there, it was not good. It really wasn't good if you're going to talk about good pizza. I think they were using spaghetti sauce or something as like the pizza sauce, but it all
That's
just
not
came
bad.
It all just came together in this like kind of deliciousness that just wasn't right. But
I mean, the thing I hated the most about giving up gluten was bad pizza.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. As much as it
like bad corner store pizza can be so good.
it can. As much as I like, part of me wants to judge you. Like, I completely agree. Like, because I was all about bad pizza.
It's like good sometimes.
No, it is. It absolutely is. There's something about bad pizza. It's just delectable. But anyways, yep.
Yeah, and I'm not like talking like bad like chain pizza because that's disgusting.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I had 40 pizzas in 30 days.
40 pizzas in 30 days.
All right, we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
We've been going for a little while.
It's okay.
If we're gonna start having hot takes, we need to do a separate episode.
We should.
But anyways,
so we were talking about the film noir here, and it's not as preposterous as it might seem.
Yeah.
So according to 3X's final letter to the police, the Red Diamond of Russia did not recognize the Soviet Union as a legitimate nation. It is interesting to note that while the Red Diamond opposed the Soviet Union, it identified itself using an internationally recognized symbol of communism. There were many anti-communist groups in Russia during the 1930s, and there was possibility that the Red Diamond was one of those groups later destroyed by Stalin's Great Purge. So several pieces of information suggest the validity of this theory. For example, the incongruency that characterized the incident occurred chiefly after June 21st, when 3X declared his mission accomplished. Many 3X suspects and the letters were proven false, illustrating the morbid fascination that people have with the macabre, as well as their hunger for publicity. It is not unreasonable to assume that all of the letters subsequent to June 21st were forgeries. No deaths occurred after 3X supposedly retreated to Russia, despite the many threats that were issued. It may seem strange that a former German military officer would be involved in an anti-communist underground movement in Russia, but the existence of all Al-Qaeda terror cells in non-Muslim countries, such as, ironically, Germany, demonstrate the internationality of organized crime. So as an unsolved murder, many questions concerning 3X killings must remain unanswered. The evidence is presented, and it is up to all of you to kind of figure out your own theory here.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. I just, yeah, we've got some weird. I just feel like by now some of the stuff would have gotten declassified.
I want it to be real.
You want it to be real?
I want it to be real.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the thing that's just weird is this guy was clearly faking a German accent. There's no way he just suddenly got into the country for no reason. I don't get it. I just don't think it's that. It'd be cool, sure. It'd be cool to have this like these spy wars going on, spy versus spy, but nah.
This is probably definitely just some crazy person being ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
and then stop
I
being
want it
crazy.
to be. I want it to be something like this. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's it. So thanks, Eddie, for suggesting this, because I'd never heard of this, and it's kind of hilarious, really. I mean, not people getting killed, just the nature of how wacky this whole thing is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we will definitely take more suggestions to do things, more topics, murder or otherwise.
Right. Like, I want to do another episode, like a part 2 on body positivity is toxic sometime soon. I don't know if that's something that we want to do next week, that we need more prep on. I don't know.
We gotta talk about it. It's not that I'm not open to it. I just want to. Last time we didn't really have a rubric for it. We just went
purged,
for it.
Yeah,
and we didn't even think that it would end up becoming an episode, and it did. And this time, I want there to be more plans of what I'm gonna get across. Especially like the things I'm going to talk about.
Because you need to talk more about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, oh yeah, hey, look at here, white man, talking about your problems. You're not like
It's valid.
It is valid, and that's the problem, is that I have so much privilege that it's not valid. This is what people would say to me anyways, or that men just don't get to talk about it, because you're not supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to speak up.
But that's why we're also going to have a cancel culture is cancer like episode at some point, too.
Probably, yes. Yeah. And probably that will happen for sure. Not that some people don't deserve to be canceled, sure, but I mean, this is getting
stupid,
kind of wacky, especially when people who are trying to cancel other people are predators and abusers and rapists. But that's a whole nother thing.
That is a whole like tangent we're going to go on, and I think it's going to be quite cathartic and fun.
Yep.
We had another listener suggestion on the. What was her name? Oh, goodness. I just bought the book. We have one. A nice lady who is friends with Chris actually suggested it.
Yes, thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, it's the Hicks case.
This was in Carmel?
In Carmel, Maine.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing that. I just actually purchased a book called Tragedy in the North Woods. Just got it on like Kindle, so I've started reading that before you came over.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the Jenny Sear Hicks case.
Jenny Sear Hicks. Okay.
Yes, and then there's a couple other people that were murdered after, but it primarily focuses on her.
What time period this take place?
This was in the 70s. It actually stretched from the 70s into the 90s. And
okay.
The killer was James Hicks, her husband.
Okay.
That just came back to me.
Did she know the victim?
I haven't gotten that far in the. Are you talking about the suggester?
Yeah.
Some of her family knew some of her relatives.
Okay.
So it was like an interesting type of situation.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I'm really interested in that because I found a lot of information online. I found a really interesting video that a ghost hunter from Carmel actually went to the site and spent quite a bit of time there.
Yes.
So that was kind of cool. Like, I didn't finish the whole video because it's extremely long, but I'll probably get back to it. Once we actually post the episode, I might go and share the video itself for anyone who's interested in that.
Yeah. There's just so few in the way of murders in Maine. Like, there's just not many, so.
But I'm going to try to, like, buzz through that book this weekend, maybe into the week, so I can get some really good notes.
No, I'm excited to delve more into it, for sure. So, yeah. Anything else we want to...
I mean, I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, I think most of our housekeeping was in the beginning. So, yeah, keep them suggestions coming. Give us likes, subscribe, reviews. Please, we really need it. We appreciate it.
Like, even if you can't become, like, a patron on Patreon, you can share the link. We definitely need more written reviews on Apple.
Yeah, it's very easy. Will take no time at all. But, yeah.
Right.
So,
if you have an iPhone, do it. If you have iTunes on your computer, you can do it. All right.
So until next week.
Bye.